Hi everyone, my name is Sue and welcome back to my channel, Beauty Book Corner. And today I have a sad confession. I was on a no book buy for the month of August, September, and October. I was supposed to be on a no book buy up to November. And the keyword there is supposed to be. I was doing so well. I hadn't bought anything other than the Harry Potter illustrated version of Prisoner of Azkaban, because Harry Potter is always the exception. But I was doing so well until like a couple weeks ago, so until like mid-October, when I discovered and finally made my first purchase on Book Outlet. And my God, Book Outlet is so dangerous. I can already tell that's going to be a big problem for me. I'm so worried. So I bought like, I don't know, 7 books. It's on a no book buy and I bought 7 books. I was bad. But let's just get straight into the haul. A lot of these books I don't know too much about. I know some things and I know that people love them, and that's maybe all about I know. So I'm gonna do my best to kind of describe the books for you. I'm sure these are all books that you have already read or you have heard of, because I'm always late. I don't like to buy, sometimes I don't know, I have two sides of me. If it's a book that I know I'm gonna love, I'll buy it right away if it's a new release and things like that. But if it's a book that I don't really know and it's a new release, I like to watch a bunch of reviews. I like to make sure to, see what people think about them before I actually go out and buy them. So sometimes I will get really hyped up books like way late in the game, so it'll have already been out for maybe like even a year before I actually pick it up. So I'm going to blame Samantha from Thoughts on Tomes here on YouTube, because I think her reading tastes are so similar to mine. I find that the books that I've read that I've loved, she's loved them too. And some of the other YouTubers that I follow, they either didn't like it or they found some things, they just weren't a fan of them. But I'm just like, what? Why? Like, I loved that book. And Samantha, whenever I watch her videos, she just has like such similar tastes to me. So when she recommends a book, or when she's like raving about a book and a wrap up or things like that, I'm like, I have to get that book. So a lot of these books I think are ones that she's mentioned maybe. Of course, she's not the only booktuber I follow, but I definitely do binge watch her videos a lot. So some of these books are going to be ones that she's talked about. So first one being The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. So Ahdieh? I don't really know how to pronounce the last name. I'm horrible at pronouncing last names and first names. So it's called The Wrath and the Dawn, and I just absolutely love this cover. Oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. And again, I'm such a fan for hardcover books. I also love books that kind of have this like roughed edge here. Oh yes, my favorite type of pages. Anyways, this book is supposed to be kind of like an Arabian Nights retelling, where the caliph takes a bride every night and that bride gets murdered, and then he takes a new one and things like that. So the main character seems really badass. She kind of volunteers to be the next bride, but she does it with an idea that she is gonna stay alive and she's gonna end things. She wants this to stop. So that's kind of her purpose, but she also ends up finding out that he's not who she thought he was, and I guess they have this like she starts to fall in love with him basically. And I absolutely love, like, hate to love romances, like when they're like enemies kind of, and then they learn to find different things about each other. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, misconception, prejudices, and they end up just like falling in love. Like Pride and Prejudice is like the epitome of like hate to love you, right? When Darcy kind of yells at Elizabeth and says, I love you, but I don't know why, and I wish I didn't, So I could really love that kind of angsty romances, I guess, and like that, like, I don't know, I just love it when they start off really not liking each other, or they have like a personality clash and they learn to overcome those differences and starts to like each other, if it's done well, obviously. So this is the first book of it, and I also got the second book, and I never ever read the synopsis for like the sequels, because I don't want to get ruined, because I haven't read the first one yet. So I don't know what this one is going to be about, obviously, but I figure because this one had gotten such good reviews, especially on Goodreads as well, and I know people just seem to really love it. I'm taking the risk and I'm buying the second one. If I bought the first one in the series, then I feel like I have to just get the rest of the series whether or not I like the series, I guess. And it's just kind of weird like that, because then it feels like my collection is not complete. It's weird and it's bad and it's unnecessary. So the next book is The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani, Chokshi. And if you hear that airplane going by, I apologize. I live next to an airport, so it gets loud sometimes. Anyways, this one is kind of similar, I guess, from the previous one, just in the fact that Maya ends up marrying the king, or like the ruler of the kingdom basically, and she becomes queen. But it's more of an arranged marriage, and I think it has a lot of political intrigue and things like that, and some secrets, and getting to know her husband and their relationship as in this whole setting of like kingdoms and politics and things like that. There was a reviewer on Goodreads who said it's kind of like Greek mythology in a mythical Indian setting. I think that's what she wrote, and I thought that was like awesome. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, really cool. I want to definitely check it out. So I'm trying to I love fantasy and I love high fantasy, and I like really like Celtic type folklore. I also really like Eastern European, like Slavic folklore, fairy tales, things like that. So I'm kind of tired of some of the Western themes, although I do really love the Western fairy tales a lot, but I'm trying to get more into some other things. So that's another reason why I kind of picked this one up, just because the setting itself seemed really interesting and just really different from what I've read so far. And I think this is a first in a series, so hopefully it doesn't end in a cliffhanger, because I don't think the second one came out yet. Fourth book I got is Tigerlily, and this one is by Jodi, Lynn Anderson, and this one people were saying is like for the angst romance lovers, which is totally me. So this is a story about Tigerlily and Peter Pan before Wendy comes into the picture. So it's kind of about their relationship, their romance, and just all the different things that go in to that, I guess. And it's kind of like everything from Tigerlily's point of view, which I've always loved Tigerlily in the Peter Pan stories. I thought she was so brave and courageous and beautiful, and it's just really interesting. And you always knew that her and Peter Pan had something, right? So it was kind of like, I want to know more, I want to know more. And so people are saying this one is just like really, really good and just full of romance and angst and just awesomeness. So I'm really excited to read that. So the next book is The Gracekeepers, and I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of it was the cover that drew me, but also Sam again from Thoughts on Tomes was talking about how she really liked this book, and I just thought it seemed really magical and lyrical just from the descriptions that I was reading on Goodreads. A magical debut about a floating circus and two young women in search of a home. So in this story, it's kind of like the world has been taken over by water. Everyone kind of lives either on land, or they're called landlockers, and those who float on the sea called damplings. The main character, Kalanish, has kind of like isolated herself for like a supposedly mistake she's done in the past. And the other character, North, works on a floating circus. So I was like, oh my god, that sounds like amazing. So I was like, a floating circus, like a circus on water, what? Like, that just sounds really cool. And so it's kind of their relation. I think it's just about them two, and it's inspired by Scottish myths and fairy tales. And again, I'm all about that Scottish, Irish, Celtic folklore and fairy tales. Especially when I was really young, I used to read a whole ton of that. So it's going to be really beautiful. And from what I've heard, that it seems like some people do think that it's really beautiful and very well written. And I think I've read some other reviews where they said that it was just too fluffy and weird. So I'm not sure. I have a feeling I'm gonna like it though. So that's all I really know about it. I try not to go too deep into like the synopsis and what people think, just because then it kind of clouds my expectations, I guess. The next book is going to be one that I'm sure all of us have seen at Barnes & Noble or Amazon or on BookTube, and that is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. And it's like, remember, it's only a game. I've heard this book so much. I think people were saying it's kind of similar to Night Circus, but not as good. And it's not a competition. So it's not about two people competing against each other. It's more about don't lose yourself in this like mystical game, I guess, that comes. So it's about the story of Scarlett, who really, really wants to go to this game every year called the Caraval. It's like a faraway once-a-year performance where the audience participates in the show. It just says, a legendary competition, a mesmerizing romance, an unbreakable bond between two sisters. Welcome, welcome to Caraval. Beware of getting swept too far away. So I think it's going to be, you know, something that's totally up my alley, you know, something very magical and fantastical and a little bit dark. I kind of like that. So we'll see what I think. I know that some people had really strong feelings and did not like the book, but I think I'm gonna like it. So the next one and the last book is one that I was really hesitant on buying. I think I only added it because I wanted to get that free shipping, but it's not totally up my alley as far as interest, but it was getting like amazing reviews on Goodreads, so I just decided to add it to my cart. And it's called Daughter of the Pirate King. I'm not a huge fan of pirate type themes, I guess. I think another reason why I didn't want to pick it up is because I didn't like the illustration here. I just thought it was kind of tacky. But I don't know. So it's supposed to be she is like the daughter of this great legendary pirate, and she is set on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map to the key to a legendary treasure. She is 17 years old, and she kind of has this plan of getting captured by her own enemies, and then like when she's captured, she's going to search their ship and try to find that map. I think she ends up falling in love with one of the crew members or something like that, but I'm not sure. But supposedly it's very adventurous and very funny and also really good and fast-paced. And I finished The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue last month, and I really, really liked it. I thought it was hilarious for most of the part. Very, very like crazy, and a lot of things happen, but done in a really just kind of humorous way. And I think I was kind of in that mood of like, okay, you know, because in that book they kind of meet pirates, and there's a lot of adventure that happens and things like that. So I figured this kind of would have a similar feel to that, kind of more lighthearted, very fast-paced, a lot of adventure. So I decided to pick it up, and I know that they have a second book, but I'm not sure if I'm going to buy the second book, but I will see if I like this. I think it'll be a really, really quick read too, because it's not very thick. So that's it for my review, or not my review, that's it for my haul, I guess, all the books that I've purchased. I think a month ago I actually filmed a fall TBR list of things I wanted to read up till about like mid-November, but a whole bunch of stuff happened. A lot of things have happened. I moved, so I was busy moving. I was sick for a while. Unfortunately, a really, really close friend of mine passed away after battling brain cancer for about 6 years. And so just dealing with that and kind of grieving and things like that, honestly, I kind of hit a really bad point, and I just didn't find any interest, and I wasn't reading, and I wasn't doing anything. No skincare, makeup was like barely any, if any. Just not doing a whole lot of stuff. So my TBR plans were like shot to hell, basically. I had like 7 books, and I think I read like maybe like 2 of them on that list. So I think I might still put up the video. Let me know if you still want to see it, because I do plan on still reading those books, and I think they're still seasonal as far as like this whole winter time. So I think even though in the video I say it's a fall TBR list, I think I might just change it and make it into like a fall winter one, and just still plan on reading those books all the way up to like the end of December maybe. Just bear with me if I'm saying, you know, like, oh, here's my fall, you know, TBR, because I'm going to rename the video like a fall winter TBR list. So wish me luck. I'm doing so much better now as far as like my mental health and grieving and things like that. I truly believe that she is in a better place. I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, so I do believe that she is up there in heaven with God, and she was an amazing woman of faith. So I know that she is there with him, and she is no longer in any pain, which is what makes me very, very happy. So I'm doing so much better, and kind of jumping back into my hobbies, getting more focused on my career again, things like that. So things are looking up, so wish me luck. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!